Brit Hume is a Fox News senior political analyst, and he joins us tonight. But it's always the best people.
Yeah, God bless that man.
God bless
and
that
his family.
man. So what a nice man. Didn't make any big political points. I think they're implied, but I just wanted to let him talk and show people what it actually looks like, and that's what it actually looks like.
That's right. That's what it's like. I mean, it changes. Obviously, that family, everyone in that family's life has changed forever.
Yeah.
Not be the same. I've lost a son, and not through war, but you feel as he does, like some part of you's been amputated, and it's never growing back. Never growing back.
Yeah, I hate doing TV that plays purely on people's emotions. I think we have an obligation to think rationally about the best way to run the country and the best decisions to make, and sometimes decisions result in death, but you make them. I don't make them, but our country makes them. But I also think it's worth remembering there's, guys like that. Really the best people America have are the ones who are...
And you think of that young man who signed up and did this, and you saw what he was saying to those kids over there, and all that breaks your heart.
It does break your heart. Yeah, his decency just came right through. So in light of that, pretty unbelievable they closed Bagram. And I mean, he said, I'm a carpenter, and I could tell that's not a good idea. I'm a talk show host.
Right.
I've never commanded anything. I never will. That's obviously insane. How do we get there?
Well, it's tempting, and I don't think any of these military leaders or our diplomatic leaders have covered themselves with anything approaching glory in all this. And it wouldn't break my heart if they all stepped down. Maybe some of them should have. But when you drill down into each of these decisions as we go along here, and what got us it comes back to one thing. It comes back to the decision that was made to get our military out of Afghanistan, and fast. On Bagram, for example, the president is fond of saying now that the military commanders told him that Bagram airfield really wouldn't be of much use. You heard Mark Milley say in a soundbite you played that for tactical reasons it wasn't much support. Well, why was that? The reason for that was, as Milley testified, or at least, as Milley said in a news conference on the 18th of August, he said the mission was to protect the embassy. And obviously the embassy's in Kabul. And there was no thought that you would add forces to keep Bagram open. What Biden wanted was forces out. Now, they had to surge forces into Kabul to protect the embassy, they hoped, which failed, obviously. But it was the nature of the mission given by the commander-in-chief that led to that decision at Bagram.
I believe that. On the other hand, it's become an increasingly merciless society where people tweet something thoughtless 5 years ago and lose their livelihood and their lives are destroyed. Right. So here you see a series of decisions, I'm sure most were made in good faith, because I think most decisions are made in good faith, but that resulted in the deaths of boys like that.
Right.
And the administration informs us today that no one's going to resign, no one's going to be punished, no one did anything wrong. Like, what is this?
I think, my guess is that the jury's still out on that.
Oh.
Just looking at this in raw political terms, the president, if he doesn't fire anybody, it simply reflects back on him, as it should, in fact.
Right.
Right. I mean, you drill down on any of these questions as to how we got where we are, and you find at the bottom of it, it was one basic decision. For example, the president is now fond of saying, well, we were bound by the Trump administration's deal with the Taliban. In fact, when that deal was struck in February of 2020, Zalil Khalilzad, who was a U.S. negotiator and a longtime veteran of Afghanistan, made it very clear, as did his team around him, that this was conditions-based, and if the Taliban did not live up to its side of the bargain, that we were under no obligation to remove our troops. So one of the key provisions of that deal was that the Taliban and the Afghan government, then Afghan government, which had been excluded from the negotiations, that there would be a deal between them, that they would negotiate a deal. They never did that. They never came close to doing that. Yeah. So just on that score alone, we were not obligated, but President Biden was not obligated to pull all our troops out. And you think about it for a minute, Tucker. What was being undertaken here was what was going to be a massive evacuation. Now, there are times, evacuations are very dangerous, chancy, risky endeavors. And in a situation like this, where we couldn't know what was going to happen, and it got worse as time went on, as the Taliban took over more and more of Afghanistan, There was probably a need to surge more troops in, but Biden was not going to do that. We know that. He wanted troops out. That was where we were at the time when he made the decision, and that's where we are now. And everything is traceable to that.
Breed Hume, I appreciate your coming on tonight.
You bet.
Thank you very much.